Hey everyone, and a warm welcome to this lecture. In this video, we will look at how to remove Docker images. Docker images are read-only templates used to create Docker containers. Over time, unused Docker images can accumulate and take up significant disk space. Now, finding and removing unnecessary Docker images is therefore essential in reclaiming storage capacity and keeping your system clean. Now, for this tutorial, you need a Linux instance with Docker installed and running. For demonstration, we will be using Ubuntu 24.04 as our Linux environment. We already have a video on how to install Docker on Ubuntu 24.04, so be sure to check the link above. Now, to follow along in this lecture, you can deploy a VPS server on Cherry Servers. Cherry Servers is a leading European cloud infrastructure provider that provides a broad range of high-performance and reliable cloud services, including VPS servers. So all you need to do is to sign up for an account at cherryservers.com and deploy a VPS server to get started. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at how to remove Docker images. There are different approaches to removing Docker images. And to start off, we are going to look at how to remove one or more Docker images. And just for clarification, these are images not associated with any running containers. So the syntax for removing a Docker image is docker rmi, then you pass the image ID. So this is the command for removing a Docker image. So I'm going to cancel this out. So currently we do not have any existing Docker images, and to prove that, I'm going to run the command docker images and hit enter. So as you can see, all you get is the column headers. So this shows that we currently don't have any Docker images in our setup. So we're going to download a few Docker images from Docker Hub, and to do so, we are going to run the docker pull command. So here I'm going to pull two images. I'm going to pull the Postgres image, and then I'm gonna hit enter. So this will take just a few seconds, so just give it some time to complete. And there we go. All right, so similarly, I'm going to pull another image. So this time around, I'm going to pull the Redis image. So I'm going to run the command docker pull Redis and hit enter. So once again, I'm going to give it a few seconds, and there we go. So currently we have two images sitting on our system. And to demonstrate this, I'm going to run the docker images once again and hit enter. So here we get this output. So here you can see we have our Postgres image as well as our Redis image. All right. Okay. Now, as we mentioned, to remove a Docker image, we use the docker rmi command. All right. So here I'm going to remove the Redis image. So I'm going to run the command docker rmi followed by the image ID for the Redis image. So this is our Redis image and this is the image ID. So I'm going to copy and paste that, okay, and hit enter. So once you hit enter, you're going to get this bunch of information on your screen, okay, and this confirms that the image was deleted successfully. Now, once again, let's confirm the images existing on our system. So I'm going to run the Docker images once again. So this time around, you can see we only have the Postgres image, all right? And this shows that the Redis image has been successfully deleted. So this was our previous output where we had Postgres and Redis. And after deletion, now we are only left with the Postgres image, okay? Now let me clear the screen once again. So we have seen you can run docker rmi followed by the image ID. Now to remove multiple images, you can pass multiple image IDs as arguments. Okay. So to demonstrate this, I'm going to pull the Redis image once more. by running the docker pull redis command. Okay, so when I run the docker images command, you can see now we have 2 images. So I can delete both images at the same time by running the command docker rmi. So I'm going to pass the Postgres image ID. Okay, then space, then followed by the Redis image ID, like that. So you can pass as many image IDs as possible. So I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so we are done. Now let me clear the screen. So to check the images existing on our system, once again I'll run the command docker images, and this time around you can see we have successfully removed all the images. So that's one way of removing images. So you have seen you can remove one or multiple images on the same command line. Now in our next section we are going to see how you can remove dangling images. Dangling images are untagged Docker images that are not associated with any container. They are created when they are overwritten with a new image with the same name and tag. Now to demonstrate this, we will build a simple image from our Docker file that prints hello world when executed as a Docker container. So to start off, I'm going to create a project directory. So I'm going to call this my dir directory, and then I'm going to navigate into this using the cd command, like that. Okay, so we are in the my underscore directory. Then I'm going to define a Docker file. So I'm going to create it using the nano text editor. All right, so here this is our Docker file. Okay, so here I'm going to say from Ubuntu. So I'm going to use the Ubuntu 24.04 as our base image. Okay, then here I'm going to say entry point. So here we are going to have echo, comma, then hello world. All right, so here the from attribute simply informs Docker of the base image we are using. So in this case, we are using Ubuntu 24.04. All right, and the entry point signifies the executables that will run when the container is started. So when the container is started, it's going to print out hello world to the standard output. So I'm going to save this by pressing Ctrl O and hitting enter. So this has saved it. So I'm going to exit by pressing Ctrl X. Okay, so with the ls command, you can see this is our Docker file. All right, so now we are going to build an image from this Docker file. Okay, so I'm going to run the command docker build with the -t option. So I'm going to tag this hello, then full colon, then I'm going to give it the v1 notation for version 1, then I'm going to terminate with a period sign to denote this directory. So I'm going to hit enter. So as you can see, the image is being built, and there we go. All right, so when I run the docker images command, you can see this is our hello image that we have just created. All right. Now let's make an update to the Docker file and set the base to a different image. Okay. So I'm going to use nano once again to access the Docker file. So this time around, we are going to update this file and change the base image from Ubuntu 24.04 to Rocky Linux. So here I'm going to specify Rocky Linux full colon, then version 9. All right, so I'm going to save the changes by pressing Ctrl O, hitting enter, and then exit using Ctrl X. So now let's build the image again using the same name and tag. So once again, I'm going to run the command docker build -t hello :, then v1, and I'm gonna hit enter. Sorry, I forgot the period sign, so I'm gonna hit enter, and as you can see, the image is being built. And there we go. So let me clear the screen. So when I run the docker images command, once again, this is the output I get. Okay, so now you can see this is our older image here. Okay, and one striking thing you can see is that you get none with enclosed with these tags here. All right, so the first none refers to the repository name of the image, while the second one refers to the image tag. And as you can see, the image is not associated with any repository or tag. And this is what we refer to as a dangling image. So a dangling image is not tagged with an image ID or repository name and is therefore redundant and serves no purpose. So to list dangling images, you can also run the command docker images with the -f option, then pass the argument dangling is equals to true. So this command only provides you with the dangling images. So at the moment we have this one image, okay, which is the older image we created. Now to remove dangling images in Docker, all you need to do is to run the command docker image prune, like that, and hit enter. So you get this prompt prompting you to remove all dangling images. So to proceed, simply type Y and hit enter on your keyboard. And as you can see, the image or the images have been deleted. And to prove this, you can run the command docker images with the -f option, dangling is equals to true. And this time around, you can see we don't have any dangling image. Okay, so that's how you go about removing dangling images. Now, in the next section, we are going to see how to remove Docker images associated with running containers. So see you in the next section. For the most part, you'll have Docker images associated with running container images. In that case, you'll run into an error when you attempt to remove the images. And the reason for this is that you must first remove the container before proceeding to remove the image. Now to illustrate this, I'm going to create an Nginx container image from Docker Hub and run it in detached mode or in the background. So I'm going to run the command docker run with the -d option. So this will run the container in the background. So I'm going to provide the container name and I'm going to call it Docker Nginx with the -p option. So this maps port 80 on the container to port 8080 on the host. And then finally, I'm going to provide the name of the image, which is Nginx. So this is our entire command. So this creates a container called docker-nginx and runs it in detached mode with the -d option, and then maps the port 80 on the container to port 8080 on the host and uses the Nginx image. So here I'm gonna hit enter. So as you can see, Nginx image is not found locally, so it will be pulled from Docker Hub. And once the image is pulled, the docker-nginx container will be created. And there we go. So I'm going to run docker ps command with the -a option to show all the containers, including the ones that have been stopped. So I'm gonna hit enter. So as you can see, we currently have one running container that we have just created, and this is our container name, docker-nginx. All right, and this is a container image. So if we check the currently existing images, we are going to see we now have two images. We have the previous one, hello, and now we have our current image, which is an nginx image. All right, now this image nginx is associated with this container here. All right, now if we try to remove the image directly using the docker rmi command, so here I'm going to pass the image id as the argument. So if I try to remove the image directly, I'm going to see this error here. So you can see error response from daemon, unable to delete this because the image is being used by the running container with that container ID. Okay, so now as you can see, you cannot delete an image that is associated with a running container, and if you try to remove it, you'll encounter an error as you've just seen. So to get around this obstacle, you need first to remove the container and then remove the image. Okay, so what you're going to do now, I'm going to clear the screen. So let's first of all get the container details. Okay, so to remove the container, first we need to stop it. So I'm going to run the command docker stop followed by the container ID. Okay, so the container is stopped. All right, so if I run docker ps, you can see we don't have the container running. Now to remove the container, I'm going to run the command docker rm followed by the container ID and hit enter. Okay, now the container has been removed. All right, now we can safely remove the docker image. Okay, so once again, let me run the docker images command so that I can get the docker image for nginx. So now I can successfully remove the image by running the command docker rmi followed by the image ID. So once again, I'll copy this and paste it and hit enter. And now you can see we have successfully removed the nginx image. So to confirm this, I'll run the docker images command and you can see the image is now gone. All right, so that is how you remove a docker image that is associated with a running container. So you need first of all to remove the container, and to do so you need to stop it and then remove it. And once the container is removed, then you can proceed to remove the image associated with the container. In this final section, we will look at how to remove Docker images, both unused and dangling ones. All right. So here, currently, we have only one image, all right, which is a hello image. Okay. Now, I'm going to create a dangling image. All right. So here, I'm going to navigate to my project directory. And once again, I'm going to modify the Docker file. So here we have Rocky Linux 9. So I'm going to change this to Debian 11. So I'm going to delete this and specify Debian : 11. Then I'm going to save this file. So once again, I'm going to create an image out of this Docker file. So I'll run the command docker build with the -t option, then hello, : then v1, then a period sign, and I'm gonna hit enter. All right, so we are done. Okay, So also I'm going to download or pull the Redis image by running docker pull Redis command. And there we go. All right. So when I run the docker images command, you can see now I have two unused images. All right, the hello and the Redis image. So to remove unused and dangling images, simply run the command docker rmi, then append the $sign, then open and close brackets. So here within the parentheses, I'm going to specify docker, then images -a, and then -q. Okay, so this will remove all unused and dangling images. So I'm gonna hit enter and we are done. So if I run the docker images command, you can see that we have successfully removed all the unused and dangling images. All right, so that's it about this lecture. So we have looked at different ways of removing Docker images. So that's it for this lecture. Please do leave a like and subscribe to our channel to get more of these Linux tutorials. So from us, it's bye bye and see you in the next lecture.